Hi, this is Arik,
And Aurelia,
and we're here to talk about life and interesting things.
or so we think, but as always, you can be the judge of that.
Either way, what we have to talk about is
Ageless.
So my first question for today's episode is, how did you get to be so beautiful?
Well, it's very sweet of you to say. So, how do I get to be so beautiful? I guess I have to thank my parents for that. Good genes, maybe? I don't know.
Do you think beauty is like just genes though, or is like...
No.
I think it's more than that.
As it says, like, true beauty comes from within. That's one of the sayings that's true. And then the other saying is that, you know, every woman only starts to be beautiful when she's loved.
Wow. Wait, hold on. There's like, these are like two concepts that we can elaborate on. So like true beauty comes from within. What is true beauty and what is from within? And then like, then it goes to that, like, what is true beauty?
I guess beauty and true beauty is always in the eye of the beholder.
True beauty, so subjective.
Yes.
I disagree, actually.
Really?
I totally, sorry, that was Saya. I totally disagree, actually.
Tell me
If I can just interject right away. Yeah. If it's true, then it's true, and it's beautiful whether the beholder can see it or not. Like, it's just, for example, like, if I see something as beautiful and somebody else doesn't, it doesn't mean that it's not beautiful.
Yeah, that's why I thought it's in the eye of the beholder, but I can also see what you are saying, that, you know, you have to have a certain higher frequency, I guess, in order to see true beauty.
Whoa, okay, wait, hold on. What's a higher frequency?
Like your vibration has to be a little bit higher.
Your vibration has to be higher.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Or through cleanliness, starting like at a very base level.
That I know.
Cleanliness in and out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because if you're a slob or if you're really lazy, then your vibration isn't very high. Like, and we all have experiences with that, you know, we are around somebody and we feel like drained, or our energy level goes down because their energy is just lower.
Or they smell bad.
Or they smell bad.
I know it's for me, like, if someone smells bad, I'm like, I can't even concentrate.
Yeah, because that's a lower vibration. That's a lower vibration energy. And the higher the energy is, you know, the nicer things smell, and I guess the more beautiful they are.
So when your senses are purified, like senses and beauty, it's kind of like they go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when you have more refined senses by means of having a higher vibration, then you're able to see that beauty, no matter, like, it's no longer subjective, like it's just actual. It just is.
It's like it radiates. I think, you know, true beauty is something that radiates. It's very hard to put in words, actually.
Wait, hold on. This is interesting, actually, because, like, the opposite of subjective would be, like, objective.
Yeah.
But, like, our world, like, objectifies beauty. That's totally different than objective beauty.
Yeah, wow. That's intense. Let me think about that for a moment. Yeah, I think like if we objectify something and then we call an object beautiful, it's like we assign once again certain qualities to it, and this just depends on the taste of the moment. So for example, like, yeah, we were listening to Baroque music the other day, and we all three, like, that's including Saya, really like it.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, this is why probably I love white hair so much. Because, true white, like this bland white hair.
Like Storm from X-Men?
Yeah, exactly. Because the wigs at that time, they were all powdered white.
Powdered?
With powder.
You're right, in the Baroque, yeah.
And they were all white, and I just love white hair. And if I wouldn't be so scared that my hair breaks off, I would totally have it all white.
Yeah, I remember you've been talking about that for a long time.
I know, so I have to settle for blonde, but white really would be my dream. And then I realized, that's why that goes with that Baroque, and that was a sign of beauty at that time, or
objectified beauty.
Objectified beauty.
Even though it could be true beauty.
It could but be. At that time it was objectified.
But actually, I think beauty throughout the ages are just different expressions of true beauty. Then when we degrade them with objectifying them, for commercial reasons or for, being competitive with each other or whatever, then it starts to become something else. It starts to become ugly.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah. So you really wanted that white hair.
I really wanted that white hair.
And then it was connected to the music for you.
Yeah. Was. And also, the body shape in Baroque.
Right.
It was considered beautiful to be curvy. Now that's not considered beautiful in our day. In our day, the expression of a beautiful body is if there are no curves, it's if it's all flat from all directions. And so in that's objectified beauty, I would think.
Right.
And true beauty would be that at any age, if somebody totally has all the attributes of what the taste of the moment says is beautiful, those people, some can still be ugly and others will be beautiful. Because the true beauty will always shine through no matter what fashion says.
Yeah. When I first heard that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I remember I was in school and I first heard it the first time. I don't know where it was, but someone said it. And I how I understood it the first time was I actually thought that the beauty was inside the eye of the beholder.
Wow, but that's beautiful.
And then I thought...
Because it's true.
Yeah, I thought the beauty's in the person.
Yes.
And it's not in the perspective of the person. I came to understand that actually that's kind of a funny story, how... Because I would then talk about how I understood that, but then I was corrected. It's no, it's about perspective and stuff like that. Whatever.
I really think that these two things are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, me
I think
either.
it is the perspective, but it is
that's why
because
I thought
it
of
is in the eye of the beholder.
And it
that's
shines
so
through.
beautiful.
It shines through, like you say.
Yeah.
And then, you can... And it's not even projecting it onto people, but...
No, because, if it's true, it's true. And if the world is a reflection of yourself, then of course, if you are beautiful, then your world is beautiful too. And then you see things as beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So, here we come back. So, to your question, how come I am so beautiful is because you are so beautiful. You see me beautiful. You make me beautiful.
It's amazing. I said it with a smile on my face. Thank you. Well, then I have to ask then ugliness is also in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
In that way, because, one of your favorite songs from the Sugar Babes, about ugly. If
I were you, I would see myself ugly too, or something.
Or no, if you think I'm ugly, then you're ugly too, or something like that. I can't remember the lyrics how they go and stuff, but ugliness, what is ugliness then? That's the opposite of beauty, or that's where does that come from? Having a low vibration then.
Yeah.
Just being ugly and stinky and gross and just
Yeah, unrefined. And ugly.
You're just
I mean,
ugly.
it's
Like
just
people
ugly
can
and
act.
you're just...
Even like a quote unquote pretty person can just be ugly.
Yeah.
Like just that's ugly. Or make ugly things.
Yeah. Or also, like, it's, for me, it always is a sense of being dead. You know, like not
Dead.
alive, like this
Oh wow.
dead kind of vibration. I think anything or anybody who is vivacious also is beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, like full of life.
Yes.
Because beauty and life. Well, it's interesting. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beauty and life to me is pretty much the same. So if somebody's vivacious, they're beautiful. If somebody is kind of dead, you know, if they're taking drugs, I mean, they can have the perfect chiseled face, and, you know, the cheeks are exactly the right height, and the eyes the perfect slant, and the hair is like out of a commercial, and but let's say they have a history of maybe taking a lot of drugs or being very manipulative or liars or sex addicts. I mean, that makes you really, really ugly. Being promiscuous makes you very ugly. You know, then they are just ugly. Then they're not beautiful.
Wait, that's really profound. Because like being promiscuous, just going back to the promiscuous thing, like it can make you really ugly. Why or how? Because like you're taking on all this energy of all these people, and they're taking on the energy of the people they've been with, and it just becomes like a big. You become like like a walking orgy.
Yeah, and because that, and also because, you know, if you're promiscuous, that tells me that you really don't know anything or the first thing about love, and
then
so,
thereby beauty.
And thereby beauty, because love
They
and
go
life
hand in hand.
and beauty, this all goes hand in hand.
And you can only really have love if you're raising your vibration and having these pure senses.
Yes.
So you can move from being beautiful to being ugly, and also from being ugly into being beautiful.
Yes.
By shifting your vibration.
Yes.
Because people like who feel ugly or insecure about themselves, maybe they feel like just unloved or just not beautiful, but really they are. And they just need to see it, or what?
I don't know. I mean, yes, of course, this is true, but
I mean, how? Yeah.
I do believe that if somebody just, even in the privacy of their own bathroom when nobody's looking, and, you know, when like they're not going out or anything, when they really think they're just so ugly, then they probably are. Then they have maybe some deep, dark secret that they're hiding, maybe even from themselves, that, you know, brings their vibration down, and they think they're ugly. Because other than that, everybody, and I mean everybody, once in a while thinks, hey, I'm not so bad.
Right, yeah, of course, absolutely. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that of course can take me into the whole subject of narcissism, but I think I'll save that for another podcast, you know, as a recovering narcissist myself. You know, I think that that's totally true, that people, like, they do have these moments where they think, oh no, like, you know, I am beautiful.
Yeah, and somebody who does not have these moments, there is, like, they
need to work. It has nothing to do with physical.
Nothing.
Like, they need to work on something, raise their vibration.
Yeah.
It's like a spiritual issue.
Yeah.
Like people who might be anorexic or,
Yeah.
you know, like or bulimic, and they think that no matter what, like they see themselves as in pictures or in mirrors and stuff, they see them as something that they don't look like at all.
Yeah.
And then that's why then they can't even see that something's wrong with them. Like once the illness has taken over, like there's something ill about them.
Yes.
Yeah, and that can happen to anybody, like on various levels.
Yes.
So it's really about love?
Yeah. It is.
Love's really important.
But love is given and received. It's very important. It's the elixir of life.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, when you talked about the drugs, like, I know, like, for myself, when I did drugs, I looked like crap.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I looked like crap. And then even when I stopped doing drugs, like the detox, I mean, yeah, I started to see myself looking better, but I still had to, like, detox stuff through my skin and, you know, all kinds of stuff. Like, I was looking like, you know, some beast.
Yeah.
But, yeah, but I guess we take drugs to supplement that ugliness.
Yeah. The other day, I saw actually somebody I really, really like. I mean, this is a really nice person, and you know who I'm talking about, and he is, like, always on the verge of depression.
Mm-hmm. I think I know who you're talking
he's
about.
in a,
I'll figure it out, though.
Kind of unhealthy relationship, and, you know, left to his own devices, he needs help, but he accepts it, and he can be truly, truly amazing and really loving and clean and all good.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's in this relationship that is very unhealthy, and he has a habit of going from one unhealthy relationship to the next, which is a different subject altogether.
Yeah.
But what I want to say is that, you know, I saw him just from afar the other day when I was walking the dog, and I was so shocked. I was so shocked because the last time I had seen him in your presence, and then of course within your aura his vibration was heightened and he looked attractive. And then when I saw him left his own devices, like coming from the aura of this woman that is like so toxic, I can tell you what he looked like. He looked like a skeleton with a red hoodie. It was so sad, I started crying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean, you know, it's like his features, his facial features or his hair or his eyes or nothing had changed, but the vibration of the person he's with. And the person is on drugs, and then this is triggering his depression, and depression, as the word says, it's not a high vibration.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lower vibration.
It actually creates holes in your aura,
and that's what it
energies can, you know, move in. Like when you're sad or depressed, it's creating holes in your aura that then you can really get taken over by these lower energies.
Yeah, and that's,
I mean, it's okay to be sad, like, you know, and cry a little bit, like, but not
like
to
normal.
like, yeah, like normal, but not to be in a state of sadness or depressed, you know?
Yeah. And that's really what it looked like. It looked like, yeah, he was full of black holes.
Wow.
It was very, very sad, and I do not now quite know how I ended up there, but, you know, just maybe with the vibration that...
Yeah, about love and stuff.
If, you know, you are not in a state of love and being loved, then you can instantly look like really, really horrifying.
Yeah. But I guess, like, we're come full circle then, like how you said, you know, that when you give and receive love, then you bloom.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about this this effect that we have on others, that each other, everybody has on each other and stuff like that. So let's take a quick break and then we'll come back after this. This episode of Ageless is brought to you by Aurelia Essential Oils. Wellness for you and everyone around you. Available on AureliaEssentialOils.com. Okay, this is Arik.
And Aurelia.
And we're talking about beauty and just how we have effects on each other. Like, you know, people have effects on each other and how you can move from being beautiful to ugly and ugly to beautiful. But you said some things that made me kind of think in the first part of this podcast. And now I'm wondering, what is meant when we're talking about the grace of the guru.
Wow. Okay, well, the grace of the guru is usually used when we say we want to do something that actually we don't have the vessel to do at this point, but by the grace of the guru, we get, so to speak, like a credit to do that.
Whoa. Whoa.
It's almost like the guru is holding the space for us to do that. Like, I can only explain it like this. When I was a baby, or, maybe 1 year old or so, and then I wanted to push my stroller. And I could obviously barely reach up and, could barely walk. But really, my mom was pushing the stroller. But I thought I did it. And that was by the grace of my mom. I developed self-confidence because I thought, I pushed my stroller. So,
right.
And that would be, by the grace of the guru.
So, like, if I want, for example, to meditate or something, and I do it, is it like the actual presence, or just it can any kind of space?
No, it's just the space.
So then, like, if I want to meditate, then my quote-unquote guru will then help me to pick up the slack where I lack.
Yes.
So, like, my yoga teacher will give me the grace of the guru?
No.
Why not?
Because a yoga teacher is not a guru.
So who's a guru?
And that's a living or dead holy person.
Oh.
That's somebody who has, achieved what you want to achieve. And I mean, your yoga teacher can do, like in my example, like with my mom, like, or not even that actually, because the yoga position I still have to do myself, but they can give you cheer, they can say, oh no, you can do it, and just try it, and you do it like this, and you do it like that, but they cannot actually give you that vessel so that you can do it.
But maybe like a real yoga guru could hold the space for the students to hit the poses.
Yeah, I don't know if they exist anymore. But
yeah, of course, that's a whole other subject entirely.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking like hypothetically and theoretically.
Yeah, of course, because if some like a yogi would be like a almost like an enlightened person, because yoga just means union. So somebody who has realized the union of yin and yang inside of them. And then that would be a yogi, and that could be a guru.
Right, so like a good teacher then is holding that space. Or like, the life coaching programs that we have, then like we have the space, we're holding the space for those people to like really reach beyond what they could by themselves.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people think they can be spiritual by themselves. Like that they can do spirituality on their... I mean, I don't know about you, but like I've encountered many people like quote unquote advanced or curious, where they just think like I can do this by myself. And I know from my own experiences that that's just not true. And I mean...
So not true.
I mean, I'm not advanced, and I'm also just not curious. But, like, I know that it's not possible to do it without... I mean, like, to do that by yourself.
I have an answer to that. It is, if you have reached the center of the mandala and the 360-degree vision that comes with it, yes, then you can do it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because that means you can see the back of your head
Mm-hmm.
without a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
But unless this is true, like we would call it like the Virocana Vision,
Mm-hmm.
You need somebody who tells you, whoa, in front of you, it may look pretty good, but at the back of your head, I can see there is some major shitstorm brewing.
What's more important though, like you need someone to tell you that some shitstorm is brewing, or that I want to be told?
You need somebody who tells you.
Because even if I don't want to listen, at least I heard it. Like at least somebody told me, and that's the grace of God.
Yeah,
You know?
I have had to listen to things that I seriously did not want to hear, and I'm pretty sure everybody on a spiritual path has had experiences like that, where you can like scream and shout and be angry and walk away and but if you honestly committed to the path, then you will sit down and you will calm down and you will know that the teacher has only the best interest in mind, and then you will say, no, maybe there is something to it, and eventually you come back and say, oh, my master, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but it's not like about enabling or supporting or being like, like this just fountain of wisdom. It's like about that grace is about so much more than what the ego or what people think it is. Like grace of the guru.
It has nothing to do with a fountain of wisdom. It really only has to do with being brave enough and caring enough to tell the other, hey, here, I look at your back and there is something really wrong. And I can tell you now, and if you take care of it now, it will save you a lot of pain later.
But I know, like, people, they feel so good in your presence, for example. Like, I know that even just from myself. Like, people just feel really good in your presence, and I guess it's that grace of the guru effect. And I mean, you don't even have to be saying anything. And they just feel good in your presence, and I think that's then that space, like, that's just being held for everyone to be their best.
Yeah, because I see the beauty in everybody and everything.
Here you have it.
To me, everything and everybody is beautiful if they're beautiful. And the parts that are not beautiful, I will find a way to point them out. And sometimes, I have to be very wrathful in doing that. And, people can get scared. But in the end, they know that, no, thank you, that was really an act of love, because nobody has cared enough to tell me.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's really just like a priceless gift.
Thank you.
I mean, it's really, like I said, I mean, people just, when you're in their life, and then when you're not in their life, like, or when they're in your presence or they're not in your presence, the difference is huge.
Yeah, I have to take your word for that, because I have been
always,
with myself all the time, and wherever I go, I'm already there. So I really cannot say anything to that. To me, I'm just quite normal. But
no, that's why I'm just telling you. And I mean, you're really lucky that you've been with yourself. Some people are not.
Yeah, that's true. That's really funny. I have heard that a friend of mine, a former friend of mine, she said to me, you never leave the house I said, that's true. I really don't. Like the house, like myself.
Yeah, like you don't check out.
I don't check out. But the truth is also I very rarely leave the house.
Yeah.
I walk the dog and go shopping if I have to. But, I'm not really
Oh, yeah.
a person who is only happy when something's going on outside. That's why quarantine really didn't affect me.
Right. You're really present. There's no doubt about it. And that's one of the things that, I've really learned so much from you is like about being present. And when I'm healing people, I check for their presence. How present are they? Are they in their body? And then if they're not, like, where are they? And more than often, it's like they'll come in and they won't even be in their body. And, they might be really high-powered, fully functioning people, but they're just not in their body.
But see, and then their vibration is not really high, and then they are not as beautiful as they could be.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like where in many cases people will be like, these kinds of people, like these type A, they'll be like, well, I'm very successful and I'm happy. And it's like, well, you could be more successful. You could be happier. You know, or also like if you bring up traumas in a session, then they check out right away. Like it's just unbelievable, unbelievable. Like a trauma gets brought up, like even not in a session, just like you see a spider. Oh my God, I'm through the roof, and it's really interesting. Like where do they go? And then I work to bring it back in because it can be brought back in, but. Whether it stays or not, that's up where we have that free will to leave the house, as you say, or to stay quarantined.
Yeah.
Stay anchored, I guess it's a better word.
Yeah, but the same thing as with the house. If I'm not at home most of the time, chances are my house is going to be neglected.
Yeah.
Or squatters move in, and then it all goes back to the energy not being very high, the vibration not very high.
Yeah, so we want to really make sure that our vibration and our energy is high by... I think for me, what's really important, and for me personally, how I do that is just not listening to negativity.
Absolutely, and I just wanted to say the same thing, because... even though we all pretend that life is back to normal... Even though, the restrictions of COVID-19 are lightened up a little bit, but life is not back to normal. And, we still have to work at raising our vibration to, not be hit with a second wave of pandemic, like you said, like how it's actually in the stars. So
yeah, it is.
For us being loving and present and work to see the beauty in things, it's really it's very, very important, because that's the only thing that will keep our immunity high.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. I totally agree.
It's and with your spider, when I'm at home and I open the window and a little spider comes in, I can take care of it right away and, I take it back outside. But if I'm not home, then we all have seen those movies where you go into the attic and there are these thick, fat spider webs everywhere because, for decades nobody has been in there cleaning up.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's no way to increase vibration where there's absence.
No.
Yeah, so just not letting the negativity penetrate me, you have to really be present first in order to have immunity.
And I guess with all that said, now I have learned how come I'm so beautiful.
Absolutely.
Because I am present. I am there. I think I am very vivacious. My life energy is high. Because I'm in a state of love.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thank you guys for listening to an episode of Ageless. We'll be back in the next episode next time. See you guys. Bye. This has been Arik
and Aurelia.
And we're saying bye.
Bye.
Thank you.